Hola a todos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Gracias por estar ahí una vez más. Y mirad, tenemos un pequeñito problema con el doblaje de los vídeos. Marina está en otras cosas, no da abasto, pero tenemos muchos vídeos en versión original. Y entonces los vamos a ir sacando y según vayamos doblando los vídeos al español, pues los iremos también subiendo a la red. Y en el de hoy, pues en este que vais a ver, el entrevistado es Brad Binder. Brad Binder, que es, creo que todos estamos de acuerdo que es uno de los top 5 seguro en el campeonato en este momento. Y el perfil de Brad es un tipo curioso. Brad, ya le veréis, mirad, me he apuntado un par de ejemplos, ¿no? En un momento dado le pregunto sobre si habría que revisar el tema de pisar el verde. Acordaros, no sé, en Gran Premio fue, pisó 2 veces el verde, una el sábado y otra el domingo, y perdió subirse al podium. Pero él dice que, y le pregunto, pero no, pero parece que no te dio mucha rabia porque lo asumiste y tal. Dice, mira, a mí me da igual hacer segundo que tercero. Yo vengo aquí a ganar y si no gano, pues me da igual, segundo, tercero o cuarto. Esto es una característica de Brad. Otra pregunta clásica que se la puedes hacer a cualquier otro piloto y te suelta un discurso es sobre la cantidad de Ducatis que hay en pista. Y ya veréis lo que dice Brad. Dice, a mí esto me da igual. Al final yo tengo que salir y voy a ganar. Si hay 8 Ducatis o 28 me da igual. ¿Y qué era lo otro que tenía por aquí? Bueno, no me acuerdo. Ah, sí, hay varias. Él tiene opiniones muy especiales sobre todo. O sea, él da respuestas que no te esperas, porque estamos acostumbrados a escuchar a los pilotos en general, casi todos contestan a la misma pregunta lo mismo, pero Brad siempre se sale por la tangente. Él básicamente va a lo suyo y le importa poco lo que pase a su alrededor. Ahí os dejo con Brad Binder. Es un poco el perfil de Jack. Ya veréis que tienen una personalidad diferente. Es anglosajón y estamos tan acostumbrados a escuchar a españoles e italianos que cuando escuchamos a uno que no es de ese clan, de ese grupo, acordaros, 16 entre italianos y españoles, pues nos sorprende la forma que tiene de plantear las cosas. Ahí os dejo con Brad. Are you
Sorry.
putting on 10? Are you putting on 10?
No, I don't know why it changed. I don't like the seconds ticking. Now the seconds tick all the time, but I preferred it before.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you start now.
Whose phone is this? Yours?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Brad, 10 minutes, 10 questions, and 10 answers. Okay?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, quickly, the evolution of the Ducati, as Paul Espargaro told us, because he left while at the beginning of the season because of the accident. Then he returned and he told us that the bike has changed a lot. It has been longer, higher, like Ducati way. Do you confirm this? And this kind of bike, is it more suitable to your riding? Because you've got better results with them.
Well, I think, I mean, obviously I can't say, or I don't have a clue what the others have, so it's hard to say it's compared or in the direction of any other bike. But for sure, for us, we've had some evolution on the bike for sure. We've had to try and make all the margins, give us more margin, be able to go a little bit faster, brake harder, accelerate harder, and yeah, that's been the biggest advantage that we've had this season. Is you know, the thing is at most circuits we're almost a second a lap quicker. At least in our full time attack, it's normally close to a second, between 0.7 and a second. So the difference we've made is huge, but it's a whole lot of very small areas that we have improved that have come to a big difference, made a big difference in the end.
Is the bike less reactive than the bike before?
It's definitely more lazy for sure, a little bit more difficult to move around, but at the same time it's something you need to get used to because the performance is there. So for me it's okay, the first time you try it maybe you don't like it, but you understand that there's more potential there, and our previous package we had maxed out everything that we had.
How much does a rider coming from another factory contribute to, because Jack arriving is the first time since you were that somebody from another factory. What have you noticed?
Well, for me, one of the biggest things is, for when Jack came across, he came from the reference, the bike that everyone was trying to beat. So for us, he could bring across his knowledge and his feeling from the previous manufacturer. And obviously that gives us a good direction of where we need to steer. And at the same time, he was really quick to confirm the comments that I'd been saying. Mm-hmm. So from then on, when we started at the first test, we made a good step in the right direction. Immediately. So already, I think before Jack climbed on the bike, we were a little bit faster already than we were the previous year. So everything went in a really good direction, and then I think he just really gave us a really good idea of where we need to go.
And did he help you also in the transform your riding to you need cruise when, as you said, you go first on the bike and it may not like. Yeah. And then did Jack give you clues how to manage these bikes?
To be honest, it's you don't really need to change your riding style too much. It's just the way that you manage things. You need to be a little bit more like almost in advance, because everything's a little bit not as quick and not as agile and all of that. So you need to just pretty much, you need to get used to that. You need that to become your new normal. And that was the biggest difference.
It's funny because it's when I spoke with Nakagami, for example, and this is not between the 10 questions, he said exactly the same. They switched from a super reactive bike to a slow motion bike.
Yeah.
And the first time he said, what is this?
Exactly. No, exactly. Same, similar feeling.
Yeah, but they haven't resolved their problem yet. Would you delete any of the anything from the actual MotoGP? Ride high device, starting device, less aerodynamic drag?
For me, I'm purely the rider. For me, I enjoy racing and I enjoy giving, doesn't matter whether the bike has wings, ride height device or not. For me, when you get to push a bike to its limits is what I really enjoy. And that's what keeps me awake at night, trying to figure out how to be a better rider. So regardless whether you're riding a stock bike or you're riding one of these, my goal is to go as fast as I can. And for me, it doesn't matter whether we have wings, no wings, ride-out device or not, as long as it's the same for everybody.
Your approach is very different. Well, you have a unique approach in this pattern because most of the riders complain. But you is ride with wings, I ride wings. Yeah. 44 races a year, I do 44 races. That's your philosophy, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a MotoGP rider. That's what I'm paid to do, so I'm more than happy to be here and race.
The green, would you avoid the green last lap green policy?
I would take this out for my own benefit.
But do you think it's too tight, or do you think it should be reviewed at least?
I understand it for sure, of course, but for me it should be under review because in my case I gained absolutely nothing all 3 times. And especially the last time I lost time, I didn't gain anything because I was had the bike shaking going over. So for me it's not anything I gained for sure, but of course I understand the rules, so I don't bother.
Yeah, you didn't look to be even upset.
Thing was, I didn't care about coming second or third. I wanted to win.
Wow, so good answer.
For me, at the end of the day, I didn't win anyway, so it didn't change my outcome.
Bravo. You are top 4 MotoGP, and look, I did a little list here. Where is it here? If the races were only sprint races, you would be 3rd.
Okay.
If there were only long races, you would be 5th.
Okay.
It's funny. So
so I'm in the middle.
Yeah. What do you need to go over this top 4? It's the bike, it's another bike, it's you. To get from 4th to 3rd.
I think the biggest thing is it's been the same 2 or 3 guys that I've been fighting with all year, more or less. Of course, some races change, but these 3 guys in front of me are always there, always in the top 5, always fighting for podiums, always fighting for the wins. So I need to be more involved in this bunch and less behind them. So I need to be finish in front of them more often than not.
And what will it make happen?
Well, that clearly will make more points. So
No, but is it you need to evolve? Does your bike need to do 1 or 2 steps? Because they are basically Ducatis.
for me, it's super clear what we need, and for me, if I need a bit of rear grip on corner entry and on throttle, and if we can find that, I think
You are there.
we're there.
Spring or long race, which one do you enjoy more? Because they are, and the other question, do you race them different?
Well, it's strange because actually I've found many times this year it's much more physical, the sprint race than the main race, because the main race you have to worry about tire wear and all of these things, whereas the sprint races for me are like an attack from lap 1. For me, it's like it feels like 10 or 12 laps, whatever the race may be, of qualifying. So I prefer the sprint race a little bit because I enjoy pushing to the limit more rather than trying to make it to the end with tire.
How is the correct way to race with a rider with riders who are fighting for the championship? This situation now is there, no, on the table, and probably you will, if things are right, you will be there in the sources.
Yeah.
So you have to ride specially, in a special way, more care, not attacking, or how do you handle this?
I think you need to carry on with your own job. I think at the end of the day, it's whether they're fighting for a title or not, we are here to try win races, and you got to give the same level of intensity regardless. Of course, you always have in the back of your mind that you never want to change the outcome in a negative way. You want every guy to be able to fight for themselves, of course. And of course you don't want to ride into them or do anything stupid, but that's regardless the time, the rider, the place, you don't want to do that anyway.
But not especially now, Brad? Do you race the same way with them in the beginning of the season now that they are?
It's not me, but at the end of the day, I'm here to try and win, and I'll do whatever I can to try and win. Of course, we never want to have contact or anything with riders in general anyway, and I hope it doesn't happen, of course.
Do you think that you are a rider, okay? You just said your job is to ride a bike, whatever it is. But do you think that 8 Ducatis on the grid are too many? Or you don't care?
I don't care, but it doesn't change my life, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, it's MotoGP is for the fastest riders in the world and on the best machinery. So whichever bike you have, it's you fighting out to try to be on top. So I really always prefer the tactic of worry about myself, and that's about it, because that's how at the end of the day when you're on track, it doesn't help worrying about all these other things.
Yeah, you don't enjoy the famous theory that Ducati are too many. You do your own job, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them, don't get me wrong, almost off the grid, but would it change anything if they weren't? Who knows?
I'm 44 races a year too many?
It's a lot, don't get me wrong.
44, eh?
It's a lot. I think for me, I have a different outlook to the other guys because I don't get to go home every weekend. For me, I'm in Europe for basically from January till December, and that's my time where I'm here to race and perform and do my job. And I go home in December and hopefully a little bit in July, but shorter next year. So for me, I enjoy racing, and that's what I want to do.
So you wouldn't cut the number?
I mean, I think it is getting a lot, for sure. I mean, it's a lot of weeks traveling back to back. It's a lot of effort and risk that each rider takes on a weekly basis to have 2 races. And of course, it really takes a toll on you. But at the end of the day, it's what I enjoy, and I'm all for racing.
And the format of the weekends, it seems that you have every time less to be a rider and more to be a PR, right?
Yeah, definitely. For me, clearly, especially this season, I've noticed you do well, you don't have as much time as you'd like in the box when everything is already a lot more tight and more crucial because we already race on Saturday afternoon and we qualify Saturday morning, and we spend a lot more time doing media.
I know it.
Yeah.
The Rider Association is something that was needed, and if so, what for?
Well, I think it's something that's good for the future, of course. It's good to have all the riders together and to discuss topics that might come up. And yeah, I think it's a good thing.
To speak with only one word instead, each rider doing their own word?
Yeah, well, I think if all riders agree on something, on something in particular, it's always good to have a voice and a head that can take that forward for us.
Do you follow Moto2? I guess yes, because your brother is there.
Of course, yeah.
I want your opinion about Pedro Acosta, because in Spain we say that he's a big name to come to. How do you see him as a rider? Is he really that good?
For sure. I mean, it's clear he's special.
Yes.
If you look at how many races he's won and in what a short period he's achieved so much, it's really incredible. So hats off to him. He's done an amazing job, and I'm sure he's going to be an incredible MotoGP rider too.
I spoke with Aki and asked him about his riding style, and he told me that he rides more or less like you. You always, he said, they try to do less meters than possible in one lap. Is this more or less right than the others, you know? You try to, and it's interesting because less meter, you arrive earlier. That's true or not?
Well, yeah, I mean, on one hand it works well in some places, but on other hands you need to keep some momentum, which is the more round approach. So for me, I try cut between the two, of course. But you know, I think especially in Moto2 where the tires are wood and you don't have much grip, it's important to really just get the least meters as possible, because the less time you spend hanging on the edge of the tire, the more time you spend driving up straight or stopping straight. So this is one thing that worked really well for us in Moto2.
And does this technique help in MotoGP? Usable 100% or not?
Yeah, for sure. It's something that helps in MotoGP, which you can use more in MotoGP because you have the power.
You do it like this?
Well, I try to, but honestly, the last year, especially, everything has become a little bit more round. So, and you go faster like this with the direction of how the bikes have been developed.
Last one, I swear. Your brother, how do you, because he's not doing that well, no? How do you see him? What's happening with him?
Yeah, I think with Darren, a lot of people forget that it's his first year in Moto2. He went from Moto3 to MotoGP. I think he did really well actually in MotoGP.
I agree.
And then he he lost his ride and he went back to Moto2. But Moto2 is an extremely difficult class. It's so hard to be a top person there because you need to do everything really well, and you need to understand the tires well, understand the motorbike well. And he's gone from one extreme, which is Moto3, which is racing tiny bikes, to the biggest bikes with the most power, back to the middle. So he doesn't really understand. Well, I don't think he's had time to understand the class properly yet. So for me, the more experience he has, the better he's going to get. It was the same for me in Moto2. I was really struggling in my first season, and then once you revisit all these circuits and you understand the category, the tires and everything, you see a massive step. So I expect the same from my brother.
Me too, I like him.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, good luck.
All the best, bud.